Hello and welcome to the news on NTA International. I am Dennis Adegunloye. Thanks for joining us. The headlines. Presidential elections open in Moldova. Authorities fear meddling by Russia over European Union membership. Africa Water Week underway in Cairo. Experts brainstorm to tackle water security projects with climate change agenda. And tribute to Beacon of Peace as General Gowon celebrates life at 90. Vice President Kashim Shettima is to lead Nigeria's delegation to the 2024 Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting as directed by President Bola Tinubu. The Vice President will join King Charles and other world leaders from 56 member countries at the first CHOGM scheduled for October 21st to 26th at the Pacific small island of Apia, Samoa. They are expected to deliberate on the theme One Resilient Common Future, Transforming Our Commonwealth, focusing attention on how member countries can harness their strengths through resilience and unlocking potentials. At the meeting, Nigeria and other member countries will also elect and appoint the next Commonwealth Secretary General. In line with the agreed memorandum of establishment and functions of the Commonwealth Secretariat and the principle of regional rotation, the next Commonwealth Secretary General will come from Africa. Let's go to Egypt now, where two meetings are addressing water scarcity, a problem affecting many countries on the African continent. The Cairo Water and the Africa Water Week are looking to help vulnerable countries finance crucial water security projects and elevate the issue on the wider climate change agenda.
2,100 participants and 25 senior officials from 93 countries, as well as 77 international organizations joined Cairo Water Week to focus on Africa. One of the main reasons for this unprecedented global interest was that it was coupled with the 9th Africa Water Week.
Well, I'm happy that the Cairo Week and the Africa Week were combined in a truly international event. The importance here is, and we saw it in the summary, an importance of how we finance the developmental gap that Africa is experiencing in the water sector. How do we bring water back to center stage in the climate change agenda? And how do we deal with transboundary matters that are a serious cause of conflict?
Experts and decision makers intensively discussed food security as agriculture remains the continent's most water-consuming industry. The uniqueness of the event this year brought together various stakeholders, including young generations.
It is not a conference only for scientists, it's not only for experts. Cairo Water Week is owned by every one of these stakeholders, civil society, governments, ministers. So you signed here, if you see here ministers, but here you can see school students, but you see there some farmers, and here you see some NGOs. That is the power of the Cairo Water Week.
Earlier this year, Egypt established the Pan-African Center for Water and Climate Adaptation to be a knowledge-sharing hub and a tool for continental capacity building. The UNESCO-accredited organization offers programs and training tools to empower Africans with the latest developments in managing and reusing water resources.
Now, Americans are preparing to vote in the presidential election, considered by many as one that will determine if America will rise stronger, more equal, and hopeful. Kolo Mohammed tells us more.
The build-up to election in the U.S. allows for early voting before the D-Day, and this has begun in Detroit, Michigan, even though campaigns are still ongoing. Kamala Harris addressed the press after a rally in Detroit, telling reporters that her opponent, Donald Trump, is becoming increasingly unstable and unhinged.
And part of what we know has been happening in the last several years in our country is there's some powerful forces that are trying to divide us as Americans. This kind of backward thinking coming from some folks that suggests that the measure of the strength of a leader is based on who you beat down, instead of what we know, which is the real measure of the strength of a leader is based on who you lift up. That's strength.
The American people should urge deserve better, not someone who actually seems to be unstable. Former President Barack Obama urges Americans to go out and vote as he campaigns in favor of Kamala Harris in Las Vegas. He said together, Americans have a chance to start building more equal, more hopeful, and stronger country, and only Kamala Harris guarantees that. He said that is why he's asking Americans to vote her to become America's next president.
I am here today for a very important reason. And that is to make sure not just that you vote, but everybody you know votes.
Donald Trump, at closing rallies, urged Americans to see a further Biden in Kamala, and if she should become president, Joe Biden remains the leader. Other than that, the slow pace in development and global advancement recorded over the last 4 years will endure with Kamala Harris in power.
Did I cancel? I haven't canceled. She doesn't go to any events. She's a loser. She doesn't go to any events. She didn't even show up for the Catholics last night at the hotel. It was insulting.
Donald Trump has narrowed his rallies to America, where Kamala Harris takes it beyond the shores of the U.S., telling supporters and electorates how very well she has rekindled America's foreign policy and friendship for the good of the globe. Kolom Hamad, NTA News.
And as the presidential election opens in Moldova, authorities fear meddling by Russia regarding a referendum about its European Union membership. And President Putin says BRICS will generate most of the global economic growth in the coming years. Here again is Kolo Mohammed.
Moldovans began voting Sunday in a presidential election and referendum on joining the European Union, with fears of Russia interfering in the two key electoral tests amid the war in neighboring Ukraine. At a polling point in the capital Chisinau, the first people to cast their ballots were forced to do it in the dark due to blackout. Moldova's authorities fear that up to a quarter of the votes could be compromised by Russia in the presidential election and referendum on EU membership. Meanwhile, President Putin says the BRICS group will generate most of global economic growth in the nearest future due to its size and relatively fast growth. He was speaking at the business forum, which comes ahead of the BRICS summit to take place in the Russian city of Kazan from 22nd to 24th October. He noted that the gross domestic product of BRICS countries exceeded $60 trillion last year, accounting for about 37.4% of the global GDP and higher than the 29.3% of the G7 countries.
Egypt has so many projects within Africa, so collaborative cooperation with BRICS member states to do projects in infrastructure with Egyptian companies is a benefit win-win for both sides. Egypt imports 50% of its food, where BRICS is one of the main suppliers.
His message was welcomed by participants who see a lot of opportunities for their businesses in BRICS countries, which have now extended to 10. Kolo Mohammed, NTA.
To other news, Nigeria is set to address the global challenge in antimicrobial resistance as the federal government, through the Nigeria Center for Disease Control, launches a national action plan for antimicrobial resistance and genomic surveillance strategy in Abuja. Coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare Professor Mohammed Ali Pate said the action plan is part of fulfilling Nigeria's commitments at the last United Nations General Assembly in New York. Olusheye Adeagbo has details.
Antimicrobial resistance, AMR, is a critical global health threat projected to cause 10 million deaths annually by 2050, with Nigeria already facing over 64,000 deaths since 2019.
Honored to formally launch the second National Action Plan on Antimicrobial Resistance.
Very good. Next, we pick the
The launch of these two health strategies, the National Action Plan 2.0 for antimicrobial resistance and the National Genomic Surveillance Strategy, established the Nigerian government's commitment to tackle AMR in the next 5 years.
We are committed to integrating genomic technologies into all aspects of our work, and the plan that has been laid out focuses on building our capacity for not only detection and surveillance, improving our response to emerging infections. We are building a future where every Nigerian will benefit from enhanced healthcare, improved disease prevention, and stronger health security.
The Minister of Agriculture also makes his own commitment to the implementation of the activities of the National Action Plan. Of the 177 countries that have currently developed the NAPs on AMR, only 11% have made provision for funding the development of data. So we are happy that Nigeria is not among them.
AMR is predicted to be the next global pandemic, and this meeting reviews a strengthened coordination of the task to ensure the prevention of the damage of AMR to humans, animals, and even agriculture. In Abuja, Olusheye Adiagbo, NTA News.
The federal government's Crystal project has delivered some wildlife surveillance equipment to the National Parks Service. Minister of Environment, Balarabe Abbas Lawal, said the support demonstrate government's renewed efforts to sustaining the protection and preservation of Nigeria's rich natural resources in parks and reserves across the nation. Charles Arthur reports.
11 operational vehicles to aid monitoring and boost ecotourism, and a set of ICT equipment to enhance productivity aside solar power system were all that were delivered to the National Park Service in Abuja. Minister of Environment Balarabe Abbas Lawal, while handing over the equipment to the Conservator General of National Park Service, Ibrahim Goni, said the gesture demonstrates President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's commitment to enhance transportation for park rangers to effectively combat the dangerous trend of poaching and preservation of the wildlife, improve capacities and real-time surveillance and rapid response to potential threats to national parks located in 11 states.
Mr. President, he specifically mentioned the National Park Service and wanted to know what is their capacity, what can they do in trying to address the menace we are facing in this country. So it shows that the President is very much keen on what we are doing.
Honorable Minister, sir, haven't driven these vehicles and will assure you that the days of kidnappers in the bushes of our parks are gone.
Sir, I think under your leadership, ACRISA deserves to be commended. We receive ICT equipment ranging from laptops, desktops, printers, and copiers.
The World Bank supported projects under the leadership of the minister, who is the chairman of the Federal Steering Committee, has procured and distributed ICT equipment to various ministries, departments and agencies at both federal and state levels. Charles Alpha, NTA News.
Elsewhere, the Nigerian Army will continue to utilize and sustain the advancement in indigenous research and developments with focus on addressing the nation's current security challenges. Chief of Army Staff Lieutenant General Taurid Lagbaja gave the mandate at the closing ceremony of the exercise Vulcan Glow 2024 held in Kachia, Kaduna State. Haruna Mohammed reports.
It is the Nigerian Army's firepower display exercise Vulcan Glow 10, an annual training aimed at honing the skills of artillery personnel in both conventional and unconventional warfare. This year's exercise, with a theme integration of emerging technologies into training for enhanced fire support to the Nigerian Army operations in a joint environment, is focusing on addressing evolving security challenges through modernized training and technology. Chief of Training for the Nigerian Army, Major General Sani Mohammed, conveyed the message of the Chief of Army Staff.
Exercise therefore provides a good opportunity for the participating formations and units to sharpen their skills, knowledge and expertise in the conduct of artillery tactics, techniques and procedures.
He applauded the Artillery Corps for their innovative approaches and successful integration of new technologies into operations across the country as the Army is poised to modernization of its platforms. Part of activities of the exercise Volcan Glow 10 2024 is the pulling out of 15 artillery major and brigadier generals out of active service. Haruna Mohammed, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the Nigerian Navy has highlighted border incentives for maritime security cooperation at the just concluded 5th Sea Power for Africa Symposium in Cape Town, South Africa. Outlining the vast resources within Africa's maritime domain, the Chief of Naval Staff underscored its potential to generate more than $405 billion by 2030, including $100 million by coastal tourism, with the capacity to create more than 57 million jobs across the continent. The sustainable management of these resources is crucial as they are key drivers of economic growth and food security, the naval chief emphasized, noting that Africa's maritime future is guided by the African Integrated Maritime Strategy, which seeks to foster wealth creation by developing an ocean economy within a secured maritime domain. Nigeria's participation has been hailed as significant, as this vision is further supported by the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, which is projected to increase intra-African freight by 28% and demand for maritime transport by 62%. You're on to the news on NTA International. We'll have a short break. More reports in a moment. Welcome back. Now, 2 businessmen and a Canadian-based nurse have been arrested by operatives of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport, Ikeja, Lagos, for attempting to import different types of illicit drugs through the airport. Salwa Khalil has details of this and highlights of NDLEA's activities for the week.
The suspect, who frequents Thailand from where he claims to be importing fish into Nigeria, was arrested on Tuesday, 15 October 2024, while attempting to board a flight to Thailand. When he was taken for body scan, the results showed he ingested illicit drug, which proved to be cocaine. As a result, he was placed under excretion observation, during which he expelled 5 egg-size wraps of cocaine weighing 400 grams. In the same vein, a 26-year-old businessman also excreted a pellet of cocaine weighing 22 grams. The suspect revealed that he was to be paid 2.5 million naira for trafficking the drug. Meanwhile, a Nigerian-Canadian nurse was on 4th October arrested by NDLEA officers at the Lagos airport during a search of her luggage, a total of 70 parcels of Canadian loud weighing 35.70 kilograms. During her interview, she claimed she was in Nigeria to meet her boyfriend, who instructed her to come with the consignment, which is highly sought after. Meanwhile, a total of 162,351 bottles of codeine-based syrup were intercepted from 2 containers at the Apapa Seaport on Tuesday, 15 October at Port Harcourt Complex, Onne, Rivers State on Tuesday, 15 October. Different strain and quantities of illicit drugs were intercepted in different parts of the country during the week under review. In Abuja, Salwa Khalil Ibrahim, NTA News.
Activities marking the 90th birthday of former head of state, General Yakubu Gowon, have climaxed with a banquet in his honor at the State House. Attended by many eminent Nigerians from across the country, it was used to pay tribute to a man fondly referred to as a beacon of peace. Kelvin Ewonaye reports.
90 looked good on him. An elated General Yakubu Gowon acknowledging cheers from family members and associates. A gift to the nation, as President Bola Tinubu described him in a message delivered by the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume, and echoed by former President Olusegun Obasanjo.
General Yakubu, you are a remarkable figure in Nigeria's history and a testament to resilience, humility, and visionary leadership.
My prayer is that you will celebrate 100. And sir, I will be there.
Earlier at the Thanksgiving to honor the celebrant at the National Christian Center, the primate of the Church of Nigeria, Anglican Communion, challenged Nigerians to rededicate themselves to the goals of nation building, anchored on peaceful coexistence that General Yakubu Gowon has strived for all his life.
I must admit, what I have done or what I have achieved cannot be achieved by, it is not my own doing alone, but it is the support of all the people of this country.
In Abuja, Kelvin Ewonwaye, NTA News.
The Nigeria Communications Satellite Limited, Nigecomsat, says it remains committed to harnessing the potential of space technology and the broader innovation ecosystem capacity to provide solutions that will address national challenges. Chief Executive Officer of Nigecomsat, Jane Egerton Idehen, made the commitment at an award night to climax the 2024 Nigerian Satellite Week in Abuja. Olusheye Adeagbo reports that NTA also received Best Supporting Media Award.
This dinner and awards night, which hosts the convergence of key players in Nigeria communication satellite sector, also extolled the transformations witnessed in national space through the hard work of Nigecomsat team.
And I would like to commend you that in the last 1 year you have continued along this line, attending events, but also leveraging on the place and understanding the place of the media in pushing the Nigecomsat narrative.
I will be part of the image makers of the company. Amaka Ezugo.
It is recognition moment for hard work and awards to supporters of the industry. The professionalism of the Nigerian Television Authority also catch global and national attention as it backs the Media Outstanding Award with the largest television network in Africa, pledging continuous projection of Nigecomsat.
I think NTA deserves to be appreciated.
We leverage on the facility of Nigecomsat, the space to transmit our programming through via the satellites to the nooks and crannies of this country. We are promoting the capacity of Nigecomsat and making sure that the world is aware of what Nigerian Nigecomsat is up to.
First of all, I'm very excited. I'm very grateful to to our managing director who saw hard work and rewarded it. It's a passion. I love to work. I love to do my work. I love to, make sure I achieve my target.
For the Chief Executive Officer of Nigecomsat, it is a time for reflection as she reviewed the agency's efforts at promoting national technology, space innovation, and agenda setting.
We are celebrating this milestone means that we have raised the bar and it can only go higher. So this is our own way of saying thank you for being with us on this 1 year. We are grateful to the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, because without his leadership, we wouldn't have done this. To our Minister, the Honorable Minister, Dr. Bosu Tijani, he has guided us, he has supported us, and now we are here. So to all our stakeholders, like we always say, Nigecomsat is open for business.
The 2024 Nigerian Satellite Week is themed Empowering Nigeria's Digital Future, Innovations in Satellite Technology and Entrepreneurship. In Abuja, Olusheye Adeagbo, NTA News.
The National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, says it will continue to strengthen collaboration with other intervening agencies to mitigate the hazards of flooding at the coastal states of the country following the release of water from Lagdo Dam in Cameroon. Director Search and Rescue of the agency, Air Commodore Kennedy Mataluwo, stated this in Kogi State while assessing equipment deployed for evacuation and rescue missions in the state. Ilyasu Yakubu reports.
Disaster management experts say requires high-level collaboration in all ramifications for seamless mitigation processes. And where such collaboration is concretized, it makes resources available to work with in achieving the desired objective. The visit of the Director of Search and Rescue of NEMA to Kogi State, where he had an engagement with the Naval Command and National Inland Water Authority NIWA, as well as other partners in the state, demonstrated commitment in making Kogi State safe of any hazardous tendencies of flooding. While emphasizing the need for all hands to be on deck, Air Commodore Mataluwo expressed confidence on the deployment of resources for the evacuation.
From what I've observed from the DRU, that's the NNS Lugat, and the NIWA, I think they have equipment on ground that they can use to rescue people in case the flood exceeded what we're expecting.
As part of effort to prevent outbreak of epidemics from the contaminated flooded waters, NEMA has deployed water purification machine to provide clean water for the victims. Mr. Oladero Peter is the operator of the water purification machine.
But this water, I am assuring everyone in this place that are affected by flood, very purest, no bacteria, no germs, no anything that can hinder or that can cause any problem to human life.
NTA News observed that the silting equipment were seen abandoned on Kogi River, while investigation revealed that contract for the desilting of Kogi River was awarded by the administration of President Olusegun Obasanjo, and since then, not much is heard of the abandoned project. From Lokoja, Ilyasu Yakubu, NTA News.
Next is a check on Monday's weather prospect. Well, that concludes the news on NTA International at this time. Thanks for being a part of it. I am Dennis Adigunloyi.